Pakistan is urging restraint as fighting continues in Lebanon, threatening to derail the fragile ceasefire brokered in the wider US-Iran war. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has called on all sides to respect the recently announced 2-week ceasefire, warning that violations could undermine ongoing diplomatic efforts aimed at ending the regional conflict. Sharif said attacks had already been reported in several occasions and urged all parties to allow diplomacy to take its course. Pakistan has also been drawn directly into the diplomatic fallout. Lebanon's parliament speaker Nabi Berri called Pakistan's ambassador in Beirut, asking him to relay concerns over what he described as Israel's repeated ceasefire violations and continued attacks in southern Lebanon. At the same time, Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi discussed what he called Israeli violations of the ceasefire in Iran and Lebanon during a phone call with Pakistan Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir. Araghchi thanks Islamabad for peace in the region, but on the ground in Lebanon, the situation is moving in the opposite direction. Israeli airstrikes have hit central Beirut, the Bekaa Valley, and southern Lebanon just hours after the ceasefire between the United States and Iran was announced. The Israeli military said it carried out a large coordinated operation, supposedly targeting more than 100 hezbollah command centers and military sites, describing it as the biggest strike across Lebanon since the current escalation began on March 2nd. Smoke rose on Beirut as multiple explosions were heard across the city. Witnesses described panic in the street as residents rushed to hospitals and fled the affected neighborhoods. Lebanon's health ministry says dozens of people have been killed and hundreds wounded. The Lebanese Red Cross deployed more than 100 ambulances to respond to the attacks, while hospitals reported being overwhelmed by the number of casualties. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said the strikes targeted Hezbollah infrastructure and called them the largest blow to the groups since Israel's 2024 Pager attack operation. He also warned that Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem could be targeted next. Lebanese officials say civilians are paying the price. Prime Minister Nawaf Salam accused Israel of attacking densely populated neighborhoods and killing what he described as defensive civilians. President Jofis Aoun said the attacks added to Israel's dark record of violating international law and ceasefire commitments. Since March 2nd, Israeli strikes have killed more than 1,530 people in Lebanon, including 100 women and 130 children, while more than 1.2 million people have been displaced. Humanitarian groups say the destruction is widespread. The UN Refugee Agency says Israeli bombardment has struck more than 60 locations across Lebanon, warning that civilian casualties continue to mount. The head of the Norwegian Refugee Council described the scenes as horrifying, with widespread destruction and heavy casualties. Some observers say the scale of the bombardment has shocked Beirut. Journalists on the ground say the attack across the capital reminded many residents of Israel's invasion of Beirut in 1982. Despite the broader ceasefire, the war in Lebanon appears far from over. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has indicated earlier that US-Iran truce does not apply to Lebanon, where Israel says it is conducting a campaign against Hezbollah. Hezbollah itself has not claimed attacks against Israel since the ceasefire began, but one of its MPs warned that Iran and its allies could respond if Israel continues its strikes. The situation is also drawing international concern. Spain's foreign minister has called on Israel to stop what he described as indiscriminate bombing on Lebanon and said the country must be included in any regional peace agreement.